we get to be a little bit older and we grow out of that stage and we shut down that part, do you think that when you're on medicines or when you're half asleep, is that just your imagination that you see things or that you might see things, or that whatever you see might actually be there?
Well, medicine will definitely do that. Medicine. No, that's very astute observation, because there's the hypnopompic and hypnagogic states of sleep when you're going into sleep and when you're coming out of sleep. And it's interesting because in that window of consciousness, you revert to the childhood state where you cannot separate the fiction of your dreams to the facts of the world around you. There's this cloudy area. How many people have woken up and to some weird paranormal experience and then it ends? I hear that thousands of times. That's because you're in that state. Whether there's something there or not, either you're open to it and can see it, or your brain is just confusing you. So you're absolutely correct.
I was wondering about that. When I said medicated, I meant like, it seems like a lot of people in hospitals will see things.
Yeah. Well, hospitals are just hot spots. Anyway, think of all the traumatic events there and people trying to hang on to that last quart of life before they go.
If I can add to that, is there was an older woman that lived in a house out in the woods, and she would go through that. She would wake up, and in those 5 seconds between sleep and full consciousness, she would see something, an apparition. And so it would be easy to dismiss it as it's an older woman, she's half asleep. However, the things she was seeing correlated to a T with the history of the previous owners of the house and traumatic things that happened there that she was unaware of. So it's, who knows?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Whew, need a nap for that question. That was good. Anybody else? Yes, hey, Crystal. Demons like him?
Maybe again.
Okay, so she's asking about what about dreams when relatives come to you in your dreams, or demon, or anything for that matter. Like, how does that correlate? Like, is that maybe a conduit for them to be able to communicate with you because you're in a different level of consciousness? Dreams are very tough because it's no one can speak to someone else's dreams. It's very personal. Mike can actually probably talk to this a little bit, right?
A little bit, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Well, there's a girl I know, and she had very almost precognition for cognitive dreams, but they were based with relatives or ancestors coming to her. And it was easy to chalk that up because she knows who her ancestors were and things like that. And she ended up meeting in a dream her husband's grandfather before she'd even been to the house and saw a picture of him. She would end up walking into the house and dropped a plate because she saw a picture of this man that had been coming to her in her dream, smiling, saying he was very pleased with this relationship. So that's pretty interesting right there.
And typically what I hear from people, and this woman it certainly falls in that, is that when they have a dream like that, it is starkly, completely different from a normal dream. So are you experiencing these yourself? I don't mean to put you on the spot. Do the dreams different from your normal kind of I'm naked at school dream? Oh, okay, I gotta close out. Yep, sticks with you a little more. It's a firm belief that is a time where your consciousness is relaxed and ready to because when you're dreaming, you don't reject anything. Anything's possible in a dream. So therefore, you're more in the state of childhood, like she was talking about, where anything's possible. So if something comes through and is really trying to contact you, then it should be easier to contact you. I personally have never had the experience. My relatives have, friends of mine have, and it's uncanny, the stuff that happens. So it's a personal thing between people, you know, that's only you can judge what's going on in there, but know that other people are experiencing it, and I can easily share with you the indicators that you know, that they have, and see if you jive with that. Does that make sense? Okay, all right.
And on that note, this could actually apply to almost everything in the paranormal field in many instances, is this may be happening to you, this may be a very personal thing to you, and you're not going to be able to walk into a laboratory and replicate it, but maybe you're not supposed to because this is for you.
Good point. Anybody else? We all still awake? Okay. Yeah.
I got one, two, three.
Oh, he hasn't had a chance yet, so yeah.
You can go first since I've already asked you.
What was that?
Glitch in the Matrix.
What did you say? That is it's one of mankind's mysteries. I've had deja vu to the point where I can remember where I saw it before. Like, I remember when I was probably 10, we were driving somewhere as a family, and I saw this building across the field. I can remember it clearly to this day. And the deja vu was strong, and I remember turning to my brother being like, I dreamt about that 2 weeks ago. Like, I saw that place before. And we were driving across country, I never would have seen it before.
Seeing myself going through the same thing again. I've actually did that.
I have no answers for that. I wish I...
There's some
I wish I
research.
did.
There's some research being done on that. It's still in the metaphysical area, obviously, but has anyone here heard of the Akashic field or the Akashic record? Yeah. It's an old Sanskrit saying. It's basically the theory of everything, the record of our whole existence, and there are some psychologists and some doctors who are doing research into that concept. Is like, are you just tapping into some universal database?
Yeah. That's there's a lot of work going on with that, like Mike's saying, and the university is doing tests with this, with random number generators scattered all over the earth, and before a big cataclysmic event, they'll start to be not so random. So there's some truth to this. Yeah, check it out. It's very interesting. It's a bigger discussion than this room than we have time for, but it's very interesting. Al.
Yes, I mean, obviously you believe in ghosts, but I was also wondering, do you believe in like the Mothman, Bigfoot, extraterrestrials, and have you ever investigated this stuff in the past, or would you be willing to?
There's an extraterrestrial right there, so clearly.
Well, that answers that. But no, of course, that stuff. Once you get into it, you're tied to it all. And I'm good friends with Josh Gates, so we talk about cryptozoology all the time. Lauren Coleman, who is a big cryptozoologist, I work closely with MUFON for the UFO stuff. UFO to me makes so much sense. It's like, of course, there's something out there. Of course, whether it is little gray guys or whatever, or reptilians, that's to be seen. But with Bigfoot, to me, it just doesn't seem that hard to believe that there could be a large ape that hasn't been, is particularly elusive. That is not too paranormal to me. I mean, they're finding new species of deer in Cambodia, a deer like this big. No one's seen it before that we know. Like, there's stuff hiding in the woods.
Yeah, it's not necessarily supernatural. It's just we haven't found it.
Yes, unknown. Go ahead.
What's the most intense paranormal moment you've had in your entire career?
That's a tough one. Most intense paranormal.
Like, damn, did that just kind of happen kind of thing?
Well, that's just about everyone. Everyone thinks they experience something paranormal, they're gonna either run screaming or go, awesome. You actually spend the whole moment going, and then when it's over, you go, oh, whoa. But no, I've had I can give you an early one where I've told other people about it, where sitting at the table with this homeowner, and we're just talking about stuff, and this apple comes through the doorway, just wings around the corner and hits him in the head. And I started laughing. I thought it was funny. And he's terrified. He's like, whoa. And I'm like, you're fine. Like, there's no problem there. Like, that could be just a little kid throwing an apple. He's like, but if you can throw an apple, why can't I throw a knife? And I said, well, it doesn't work that way. And started explaining to him that stuff. But at the same time, I hear footsteps in the hallway outside the kitchen. So I walk out there real quick to look, and I see this black mask come running at me, and I get slapped in the face. Oh. I was like, and he's just like, oh my gosh. I said, no, it's just a slap. I'm alive, I'm fine. You're gonna get hit, punched, grabbed, slapped, pushed, scratched by things that aren't there. You have to be ready for that if you want to get into it. But there are just too many to mention. There was a house where the whole house shook with a roar, and like a 300-pound bird cage was shaking, and a fridge moved out. Like, there's one where you had to sit down on the stairs and wait for the furniture to stop moving so you could get through to the kitchen to get a drink of water. I mean, there's just too many experiences to name, and they all blow your mind. Yeah, thank you. Good question. Right here. Do we have a booth where you can see the games? Yes, actually, if you didn't get a chance to see them right now, we'll all be at Gen Con if you're into that stuff in a couple weeks, right? In Indianapolis.
Yeah.
But if you come and see me at the table, the games are there and they're available to purchase. They're not widely available now. We just have stuff. Yeah. Yep. If I can get back to it, I'll be there. Yeah, you can do that. You can check it out on our website, which is just rather-games.com. And thank you. They're a lot of fun. And I know that there are games, so of course I'm going to say that, but I wouldn't put my art on something if I didn't like it. They're really fun.
Like I said, I've been doing games for 8 years. I mean, I did a game sponsored by the X Games. I did a custom game requested by Barnes & Noble. So I've done a bunch of games, and now that I can do something with my best friend, we can really design the stuff that we've talked about since we were kids. So it's really, really a lot of fun. They're around the country. The company I used to work for was in San Diego, and it was called Mind Twister USA. And they've got a huge line of games, both stuff that I've designed and stuff that they've imported from Europe. So
He has a game called FandomFest, which is my absolute favorite. It's so easy. Anybody can learn it in like 30 seconds, and it's addicting. It's terrible. Terrible fun. Check that one out. I wish we could get that game from them.
well, I'll go through most of them.
Go ahead.